On my website, I have implemented full text search functionality using an open source package using which we can search, filter, sort 1 million products, and everything works in just a couple of milliseconds. The great thing is that it also considers your typos made during search. And in this video, I'm going to show you every single step how I did this. For this project, I'm going to use a multi-vendor e-commerce marketplace, which I created in one of my YouTube tutorials. There is 12 hours free YouTube video on my channel. You can check it out. The project uses Laravel on the backend and React with TypeScript on the front end. To implement full text search as well as filtering and sorting, we're going to use Typesense, which is also sponsoring this video. Typesense is a lightning-fast open-source search engine. In fact, it is the open-source alternative of Algolia and very easy-to-use alternative of Elasticsearch. If you want to get started with Typesense, check the link in the video description, which is going to redirect you to their GitHub page, and here you can find all their demos, all their useful links for the SDKs, for the APIs, for the documentation, everything. There are two options to use Typesense. Option 1 is to use Typesense Cloud, where you have to sign up into cloud.typesense.org. You're going to create an account, you're going to create this server, and you're going to use that server as your Typesense search server, which doesn't require setting up Typesense locally. In which case you have to generate the API key, and you're going to put that API key and your server host in your project's EN file. The option 2, which we're going to use in this tutorial, is to set it up on a local machine. Right now, I encourage you to pause the video and go to typesense.org and check the showcase section, where you can find multiple examples how Typesense works on 32 millions of songs or 28 millions of books and so on. What is its performance, how it performs the searches. Typesense has API libraries for all the major programming languages such as JavaScript, Python, PHP, Go, and so on. It also has out-of-the-box solutions and integrations into Laravel, Symfony, Gatsby, WordPress, and so on. On their website, you can find all the use cases of Typesense, how to make Typesense up and running into different cases using Docker on Linux, on Mac OS. You can also see how to create collection inside Typesense using Shell or JavaScript or Python and so on. So Typesense is a must-have tool if you want full text search functionality or sorting or filtering on your website, especially when you have large data. Thank you, Typesense, for supporting this channel and sponsoring this video. Now, let's go into our project, and we are going to start integrating Typesense into our multi-vendor e-commerce marketplace. We're going to implement search functionality into 1,000 products, and later we're going to do this for 1 million products, and you're going to see how amazingly Typesense works. Let's click on the docs on their main website, which is going to open dedicated docs section, and by the way, they have amazing documentation. Let's click on guide section, and on the left side you're going to see everything, how to install Typesense, how to install a client, and so on. I'm going to scroll down below and find this walkthrough section, and we have this Laravel full text search section. So we're going to follow this. I'm going to scroll down below, and I'm going to do this on a Laravel sale. Right now I'm on Linux. I have the project up and running using Docker, but if you are actually using Docker, it doesn't matter which operating system you have. So I'm going to use a Laravel sale. Let's scroll down below, and first, based on the documentation, we have to create new Laravel project, which I'm going to skip because I already have that Laravel project up and running. However, I have not started the container. So I'm going to execute vendor bean sale up -t. It's going to be started. And here we have our website, and we have 1,000 dummy products, and they don't have images, but we're going to skip that part because we are not going to implement searching inside the images. We're going to implement searching inside the titles and descriptions of the products. If we scroll down below, we're going to see we have like 42 pages, and we totally have 1,000 products. Now let's go back into the documentation. So if you are following on a brand new project, you have to create new Laravel project. And because I'm doing this using Laravel sale, I recommend you to follow this and do this on sale, especially if you are on Windows and you want to set up Typesense locally. And by the way, Typesense has two options. You can use cloud version, in which case you don't need to set up anything locally, or you can set it up locally. And if you're on Windows and if you want to set it up locally, you need to use Docker as well. So now we're going to scroll down below. You need to navigate into your project and execute vendor bin sail up -t to start all the containers, and then we're going to execute sail artisan migrate, and it's going to create all the migrations, and you're going to access localhost in your browser just like I'm doing right now, and you're going to see your brand new project. The next thing is to install Typesense in our project. For this, we're going to execute php artisan sail install, and I'm going to do this from inside the container. So just like we are doing this sail artisan migrate, we have to do something similar. So I'm going to do vendor bin sail artisan sail install. So let's do this. Sail install, we're going to hit the enter, and it's going to ask which services we want to install. MySQL is the default one which is selected. I'm going to hit on space and unselect MySQL. Then I'm going to use my arrows to navigate and find this Typesense. I'm going to hit on space to select this, and I'm going to hit on enter. All right, so which is going to finish this scaffolding process, and it's going to have Typesense installed in our project. Let's see what changes were made. So inside Docker Compose YML, we're going to see new service. This is the Typesense service. Okay, and whenever we execute vendor bin sail up, it is going to also start the Typesense container, which is going to be running locally, and we're going to use the local version of Typesense. So far, so good. Now I'm going to scroll down below, and as you see in the docs as well, the following Typesense change will be made inside your Docker Compose YML file. Then we have to execute vendor bin sail down. Basically, we're going to stop all the containers and even remove those containers, what we previously started, because we don't have Typesense among those containers. And then we're going to execute vendor bin sail up with -d, which is going to also start a new container, and it's going to use a new volume as well for this container. Okay, so far so good. Now, according to the documentation, we're going to install Laravel Scout. What is a Laravel Scout? Laravel Scout is a driver-based solution for full-text search functionality. And out of the box, Laravel Scout supports Algolia, which is not free and not open source. It supports mainly search, and it supports Typesense. So we're going to use Typesense, which is open source and easy to use solution in our project. And you're going to see the result as well. Believe me, it's going to be really amazing. So we're going to actually install Laravel Scout, and you can follow the documentation from the Laravel official page, like we're going to install this Laravel Scout and execute the following command, or let me follow this from the Typesense documentation. In this case, so I'm going to copy the following command. We are going to open the terminal. I'm going to paste, hit the enter. It's going to execute composer require from inside the container because we are using this vendor bin sail. So after which we are going to also install this CURL client in Typesense PHP. So I'm going to copy this, and we're going to paste and hit the enter. Next, we're going to execute artisan vendor publish, and we're going to publish this Scout service provider. So I'm going to copy the following command. We're going to open PHP store, and we're going to paste the following command. Now let's hit the enter, and it's going to publish scout.php file from vendor folder into our config scout PHP. So the next thing is to configure that scout PHP file. All right. So first of all, we're going to make sure that the Scout driver is set into Typesense, because we said that the Scout is a driver-based solution. So we're going to open .en file, and if you scroll down below, we're going to find the following new keys that was added by the artisan command vendor publish. So we have the Scout driver to be Typesense, we have the host to be Typesense, and that host must match the service name what is inside the Docker Compose YML file. So we have this default port on which the Typesense is running. We have the Typesense protocol and the API key, which for testing purposes is just XYZ. All right. So because we have the Scout driver into Typesense, we don't need to do anything. However, we're going to open scout.php file and search for this Scout driver. And as you see, if there is no Scout driver inside environment variables, it is using Algolia. All right, but because we have added that Scout driver to be Typesense, there is nothing to do inside Scout PHP. So far, so good. All right, what else do we need to do? So there's an optional section to use like queues for indexing our models, which is something I want to skip right now because I want to focus on the result itself. So we're going to focus on queuing. However, when a new model or new record is created inside the database, if you have queues enabled, all the indexing of this model happens in the background. So if you want to index like 1000 products at a time, that happens in the background. If you have created 5 products in a single request, so user is going to immediately see the result and all the indexing processes will happen in the background, which is something really cool, and you should consider this doing on production if you think like your creation process needs some time, several seconds. So we don't want the indexing process to halt the response to the user, right? So that's a pretty cool thing. But for like the demonstration purposes, I'm going to skip this part right now. The next thing is to create model and migrate data. So if you are following this on brand new project, you should consider creating a model. You can create a game like it is done inside this documentation, or you can create a product table like I have in my database. So I have pretty complex product system, and I'm going to show you the migration. Create products table. So it is pretty complex table, and we have the title, slug, description, we have the department ID, we have the category ID, and a couple of other fields. And the product also has a child tables inside the database. I have a full tutorial how I built this project from scratch. You can check this on my YouTube channel. It is 12 hours free tutorial. So what you can do right now is you can simply create products table with the title, slug, and maybe price. Okay, so that's, I think, all what you need to just understand how this works. And of course, when you understand how Typesense works and you have a project inside which you want to use it, you know how to use it. Okay, if you go inside the documentation after we create the model, so we have to use this. So this is the model creation process, which you can create using Artisan. I'm going to scroll down below and find. So when you create the model and the migration, you're going to execute the sail migrate. Of course, that's a logical step. And next thing is to use this searchable trait. I think one thing is missed from the documentation is that we have to use this searchable trait. So now I'm going to open product.php model, and I'm going to scroll at the top, and I am going to use searchable trait from Laravel Scout. And because the Laravel Scout driver is set to Typesense, it is going to use the Typesense behind the scene. Okay, once we imported the searchable and added inside the use section, because it's a trait and it is, I think, missed from the documentation, just like I did, then, oh, my mouse is jumping around. Then we have to add 2 searchable array into our project. All right, so I'm going to scroll down below inside my model, and I'm going to add this method to searchable array. And we have to return those fields which we want to be searchable using Typesense. So I'm going to autocomplete everything what is suggested by AI at the moment, and I think I'm going to modify this part. So first, we need ID. And ID must always be string. So I'm going to cast this into string. So we also need created at, which must be timestamp as an integer. So in this case, we're going to use this created at, but we need timestamp of this created at as an integer. And I'm going to move this up. So we have ID and created at. Next is to use title. We can also use slug to be searched. To speed up the process a little bit, I'm going to copy and paste the fields I want to index. So I have this ID, title, description, slug. I have this price, which must be casted into float. We have this quantity. I want to also index image, because whatever is indexed, I get that data inside the front end, and I want to use this image. So you're going to understand everything. So we're going to have the user ID, user name, and user store name as well, which is the store name of the vendor of this user. We have the department ID, which is the, we have the name, and slug of the department as well. We have the category ID, category name, and category slug as well. And we have this created at, which is the timestamp of this created at. I'm going to also add another method right here, which is going to be the index searchable as, and that needs to return the index. And I'm going to give it index products index. So this is the index using which Typesense will index all our data. And right here inside this toSearchable array, because I am using user, I'm using department and category as a relation or as relations in our product model, I'm going to do this loading. So we're going to load category, department, and we're going to load user as well. Now we're going to open scout.php and I'm going to scroll down below and we are going to find the Typesense section right here. And we have the client settings, and this is the way how we connect to the Typesense client. And right now we are using the local version, self-hosted version. But as I mentioned, if you don't want that headache of self-hosting Typesense, you can use the cloud version as well, which is not free in this case because there will be a server running in the cloud for you and you have to pay something for that. So if we scroll down below, we're going to find this model settings section, and I'm going to uncomment this, and we're going to change this user into product. So for the product class, this is going to be the collection schema fields. We need ID, we need title, which must be string, and I'm going to duplicate this title a couple of times. We need description because we're going to perform searches based on the description as well. We need department name, which is going to be string, but there is one additional field which I want to add, and that is facet true, one additional property. And that facet true basically means that I want to use the department name inside filters section. So that's what it indicates. We're going to also provide category name here, and we're going to also have this facet true, and we are going to have price, which is going to be float, and we're going to have also facet true on that because we're going to use price as a number range section into our filters area. Now, if we go back inside our documentation, so we did this toSearchable array, okay, we actually fast forwarded what is written inside the article. So we have done this into searchable array. If we scroll down below, then we have to configure this model settings. We have the name, price, which is type float, facet true, and we have a couple of other fields which is relevant to the game model, what is displayed right here, but not relevant to us. All right, so we're going to scroll down below, and inside search parameters, we're going to use all the parameters inside which the search should happen. So if we scroll down below, we have the search parameters queried by name. We're going to change this into title and description. So searching needs to happen inside title and description, and it will happen in this priority, first inside the title and next inside the description. All right, so next, now because we added searchable trait inside the model, whenever we create or update product, it is going to be automatically indexed. And this is what is shown inside the tutorial. You can access Tinker, you can create a model, and then you can search for this model and you're going to see the result. However, what we are going to do is to backfill existing data. So I have 1000 products and I want to index all of them. For this, we're going to execute this artisan scout import and we're going to provide the model name. So let's bring up terminal. And I'm going to paste this and I'm going to change the model name, which must be product. I'm going to hit the enter and let's wait for the result. And as you see, all records have been imported. Now, if we want to test whether this works or not, we're going to access also Tinker, vendor being sale artisan Tinker, inside which we're going to execute up models product. We're going to do search and we're going to provide one word. Let's open the website, let's go into our project and let's just take one word like modern. So I'm going to provide modern here, and then I'm going to just take 5 records and I'm going to call get. Now, as you see, it returned something. And we see the following product, modern desk by eco-friendly or something. So this is a dummy product. It is generated from the seeder. So we have another product, another. So we have, and it seems like to be working. Now, if we come back to the documentation, you're going to find the following link, Typesense Instant Search Adapter. And this is the front-end package which gives you the possibility to connect to the Typesense client from your front-end and perform searches. All right, so we can do searches on our backend into Laravel like we have seen using the Tinker, but the ideal performance will be received if we do this from frontend. So we have this demo Laravel application which uses React with TypeScript frontend with a Typesense Instant Search Adapter. And the great thing about this is that it uses the exact same stack as my project uses, React with a TypeScript. So you can have a look at the demo Laravel application, which is free, open source, on their GitHub, on the Typesense GitHub. What we need is this Typesense Instant Adapter. So if we scroll down below, we're going to find the installation section and usage with the React Instant Search. And this is the way how we're going to create the Typesense Instant Adapter, which is going to connect to the Typesense client, as I mentioned. And we're going to use the following component, Instant Search, provide the index name and the search client. So this is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to copy the following part. And I'm going to put this in my project, but I'm going to put this inside the layout. So we're going to open authenticated layout, which is the main component which wraps everything on the following page. All right. So inside this authenticated layout at the top, I am going to use that and create this adapter and make sure that this is imported. I think we have not installed this first. So we're going to open this GitHub link. Let's go into the installation section and we're going to install this Typesense Instant Search Adapter and Babel runtime, but we're going to install additional things. But first, let's go inside the container vendor bin sale bash, and we're going to execute this npm install to install this Typesense Instant Search Adapter and Babel runtime. Oops, I copied this with $. We don't need this. Let's execute. Okay, while it is working, we're going to click on this React Instant Search. And this is the package which is developed by Algolia. And this package, the Typesense Instant Adapter, is using this React Instant Search, which is developed by Algolia. So we also need to install this React Instant Search. We're going to execute npm install --save react instant search. I think instant search is without dash. Okay, it has been installed and I'm going to execute npm run dev to rebuild everything because we're going to also make some changes inside the components. So we need to import this Typesense Instant Search Adapter, which was imported from this Typesense Instant Search Adapter. I'm going to scroll down below. So we're connecting into localhost, which is correct. This is the port. However, we can change this into number. We have this HTTP, so everything is great, everything's there. We have this search client, which we are going to use inside the component. Let's go inside the documentation, click on this React Instant Search, and I'm going to copy this instant search. So I'm going to get this, and I'm going to put this inside the first div in my project, and I'm going to end the following component right here. So if I format this, so everything inside my layout was wrapped by this instant search. Now let's make sure that the instant search is imported. That was imported from this React Instant Search. We're going to provide the proper index name, which is product index. And that is the same string we provided right here, searchable as. It is products index. So we have to write products index. And we provide this search client as well. Next thing is to perform the search. And for this, we're going to open this navbar, inside which we have this form. And this is the search form, which is using this typical inertia GET request to filter all the products by keyword. Now, I want to show you the official Algolia documentation where you can find more information about this React Instant Search. Let me zoom in this for you. And this is the showcase for the React Instant Search widgets. And it is not a single widget. There are This is the whole framework basically for searching functionalities. So if I scroll down below, we have this instant search full search interface. We're going to click on this. I'm going to click on API and click on React Instant Search. And that gives you all the components like the instant search, search box, which is something we can use in our project. So I'm going to click on this search box. So I'm going to zoom out slightly because we have this right part which displays the examples, props, and hooks. So this is the default template. I'm going to zoom in and out to give you a better view. Like we have this search box on which you can provide the placeholder, query hook, the onSubmit function, and so on. And you can provide the class names as well. So this just is unstyled component, this search box. If you are using Bootstrap, you need different classes, right? If you're using Talon CSS, you need different classes. That's why you have ability to provide class names. But you are still kind of limited how you can customize in terms of UI from these class names. So what you can actually do is that you can use a custom hook and create a brand new component, which is going to do this custom search box functionality. So we're going to click on this hook section, and inside the hook section, you're going to find this custom search box component. And we are using this use search box hook. And when we destructure the result, we get the query, refine, clear to clear everything. And then inside your component, you can have everything custom. And this is exactly what I have done in my project. And I'm going to show you Git changes. All right. So right here, we are using this use search box, and we are only taking refine. We defined new state, which is going to be a value, and that value will be the input value. So we don't need this search form, which is the Inertia's typical search form using this use form. So we're going to take this part. We have refine and value. Make sure that we have imported this use search from React Instant Search, and we also don't need this keyword from the props because we're going to do this in a different way. We also don't need this use form, so I'm going to take this. However, we need this use state. So those are the changes. Next, inside this input, previously we were using the search form data keyword from the Inertia, but right now we are using the value. That value is taken from the state. And finally, we have this onSubmit function. Previously, we were calling the get method on the Inertia search form, but right now we're going to call refine, provide the value. That's it. That's all what we need. Now, if we open our navbar TSX component, so we have this search form component completely modified. And again, the minimal change, like we have very minor changes. So we have this refine from this use search box imported from React Instant Search. We have the value, which is provided right here. And on change, we are setting the value. That's as easy as this. And on submit, which is called on submit of the form, and on blur of the input as well, we are calling this refine, providing the value. Now we have this form ready, but this is not enough. It does the filtering, but we need to display that filtered result somewhere, right? So if we check our homepage, we are right now using this product listing component, which takes the products received from Inertia. But instead of taking this from Inertia, we are going to use the result coming from Typesense to actually implement the searching. And this is what I have done right now. I have commented out this product listing and created the following snippet. So we have wrapped everything inside the div just for styling purposes. And we have this configure, which is a component from this React Instant Search. So we're going to open the documentation and I'm going to show this part to you. So if we go back, and we have this widgets React section, we have a bunch of components, and one of them is this configure. And that configure gives you ability to modify how many items you want to show, what type of filters you want to activate, whether you want analytics or not, and so on. What I do right now is provide that I want 24 items per page. And make sure that the configure component is imported. That must be imported from React Instant Search. I'm going to create this custom hits component in a moment, and we have this pagination component as well, which is coming from this React Instant Search. Make sure it is imported, and we have those styling options. Again, if you're interested to know more about this, you're going to go into the following documentation, and you're going to find these inside the results section, or let's search for simply pagination. Here it is. You're going to click on this, and you're going to find every single property what this supports. I'm going to zoom out again, and on the right side you see examples, props, hooks. If you click on props if you click on props, you're going to find the class names as well right here. And this is what I used and when I changed the styling of this pagination component. The next thing is to create this custom hits component. And first, before I do this, I'm going to show you the hits component. Let's click on this. So we have this hits and infinite hits component as well. And the hits is for typical pagination, infinite hits is for load more or like automatically loading on scroll. So I'm going to click on this hits component, and we have this hit component as well. So we can provide how each item needs to be rendered inside this hits as well. But if this functionality or this styling, it also has this class name support as well, using which you can provide the classes. But if that is not enough and you want to customize that, you can use this hook section, and you can use that hook use hits, where you have the items, results, banner, send event, and you can create your own custom HTML or JSX. So this is exactly what I'm going to do, or I have actually already done. So I'm going to show you the changes section inside home component. So we have this custom hits component. I'm going to accept everything, and we can go through these changes. And this is not important at the moment. So we have this custom hits component. We are using this use hits hook. We have hits and we have results. And as you see, if the results doesn't exist or the results MB hits equals 0, we render the following content: no products found, try adjusting your filters or search criteria. So we have this inside this custom hits. Okay. The next is that we take this result MB hits and we show the following text, showing whatever 1000 products. Okay. Next, we take these hits and we call the map, and each hit, which is going to be an object with key value pairs, where keys will be whatever is inside this to searchable array, whatever we define there. So this object will have ID, title, description, slug, and so on. So everything will be inside that hit, and we are giving that hit into the product item component. So inside the product item, we accept product, which is an instance of the following type. And that type has a bunch of properties, but we don't need all of them. That's for the detailed page. So it has the nested user, nested department, nested variations, and so on. So this is the new type, product list item, where we have the ID, title, slug, price, quantity, image, user ID. So basically everything what we have defined inside this product PHP, maybe not everything, we don't have created yet. This created yet is necessary for the Typesense itself, but we don't need this on the front end. That's why I didn't define this right here, but we have this product list item. Now let's go into product item, and I'm going to change the type from product into product list item. And we're going to scroll down below, and we're going to change the way how we output some data. Like, as an example, we are using this product.user.store name, which is something we are going to change. Instead of a user.store name, we're going to use underscore here. We're going to use underscore here as well, inside department slug and department name as well. Next is we're going to open also up HTTP resources product list resource, which might be still used in certain places. And from Laravel, it might be returned into the front end. And instead of having this user and department as nested objects, we're going to change this into user underscore ID name and user ID, username, and user store name. And we're going to do the same thing inside department. Now we have this custom hits component ready, which is using the existing product item, how I was actually rendering the item. We just defined a new product list item type inside the React TypeScript. And that's a pretty complex project. And I'm like trying to explain every single detail what changes are necessary if you have the exact same stack, like React, TypeScript. You have to make some changes in a bunch of different files, especially if you are following like this scalable folder and file structure, and if you don't have everything in a single component, like I have this product item created. All right, now we're going to open our website. I'm going to bring up the dev tools as well, and we're going to perform the search. Let's search for something like deluxe, and we see no products found. Let's search for modern, and we see something. We found 355 products, and like that was blazingly fast. I'm gonna just zoom out slightly and let's search for desk. The great thing about Typesense is that even if you make typos and even if you don't precisely type what you are looking for, it is gonna still find. As an example, we're gonna find this home style, and let's say we made some mistake. So we just type home STLE, and we simply missed this Y. We're going to hit the enter, and it's going to still find all the home style usages and even maybe other things as well, which is relevant. And as you see, searches happens in milliseconds. So let's search for camera, but with mistake. It is not full camera, or we can search for camera. We're going to hit the enter again. It's going to still find. But we don't stop here. This is the search, which is amazing, which is fast, and you can implement this on a very large website with millions of records. What we are going to also do is filtering by different things. So for this, let's first go into the documentation, and I'm going to show you what you are going to use. We're going to use refinement list, and that refinement list gives you possibility to show a bunch of checkboxes on the left side, like you have seen on an e-commerce website, and user can filter the products by just clicking at different things. And you see all the properties right here, the limits, how many items inside this refinement list you want to show. You can make this refinement list searchable as well. You can provide the search placeholder. You can also add this show more button. If you have like 100 brands, you don't want to show all of them, right? You're going to show first 10 and maybe have this show more functionality, which is going to show additional 10. You can have this search. So it is like a complete solution what you need. Now, here is the new component I created, and this is the filter panel component. And let's quickly go through this. So we have this department title, and we are using this refinement list, and the refinement list accepts an attribute using which the filtering should happen and which attribute from the products should be used to create that unique list of the items. So if we go inside the documentation, you see attribute right here, which is mandatory, and every additional attribute is kind of optional. All right, so we are providing this searchable placeholder. We can make this searchable, and I'm going to show this to you right now. It is not searchable, and we provide the different class names as well. In the same way, we have the category, we provide the attribute, and we provide the class names, and we have the price range as well. We provide the attribute to be price minimum 0, and we provide the class names. In this case, it is the range input. Again, you can find this in the documentation right here. Now we're going to see the result, but first let's go into home.tsx file, and we are going to use this filter panel component. Let's import this right here. I'm going to save everything, and let's check our website. And on the left side, look at this. So we see this filtering section. So we have the departments, 2 departments, because there are products available only inside those 2 departments. Right now, we filtered this with this CMera. I'm going to just reset the filter, and we're going to see also counters. These are the badges, the Daisy UI badges. So it is amazing how fast this works. So if we search for something like, again, camera, we're going to hit the enter immediately, like it is saved inside the local storage. It works super fast. So we have these 37 and 36 right here. So we have cameras inside fashion as well. So don't pay attention to this. Again, we have these dummy items and we have camera named products inside fashion. I'm fine with that because we have the dummy items. But that's the great thing. Now let's filter fashion, and we have these 482 items inside. All the categories, by the way, have gone because there's only one category remaining inside the fashion, and that's it. So if we search for inside electronics, now we don't have fashion category right here, but we have other categories which are inside the electronics department, and we can narrow down this. And let's say I'm interested in desktops and iPhones, and we're going to see all these 160 products. Now let's filter them by price range. I want all the items which are under 100 USD. We're going to hit the enter, and we see everything is right now under 100 USD, and you see the departments and categories counts are also updated. Now let's see how we can implement sorting in our products table. So for this, we're going to use sort by component from this React Instant Search package. This is the component. We have to provide the title. We can provide the title, my custom title. But the main thing is that we're going to provide items, and that items needs to be like this. So we have label and the value. So this is just one example, and this is the one way how you can provide. And inside the value, here we're providing index name. So one way to perform sorting is to create second index specifically for price, another index specifically for title as an example, and you need to use different indexes right here inside the value. So if we open Scout PHP, we can see that the default sorting field is created at. Whenever we use our index name, which is products index inside here, inside the value, it is going to use created at column for the sorting. However, as I mentioned, if we want to implement sorting by ascending, sorting by descending, we need to create different indexes. So that's one way. Second way, which you can find, by the way, in the following documentation, in the following showcase project, Laravel Stream Games Search application. So that's pretty powerful thing. You have a running project which you can actually start locally using Docker very easily, but you can also explore the source code on the GitHub. So if we go inside resources, JS, which is using basically the same stack I'm using, pages and games, we can find sort by used here. If we scroll down below, we're going to find this sort by component, and this is the syntax how it can also be used. The second way, we provide the index name, then sort, then the field name, and then the direction, ascending or descending, how we want. So I'm going to do something similar in my component. So let's do this above configure. Actually, I'm going to create one div, and let's give this div justify end, and then we're going to have sort by label, and then I'm going to paste this component. So we have these class names for the title and CSS to style properly using Daisy UI classes, and we have the relevance, which is using this value products index. For price ascending, we are using products index sort price ascending. For price descending, we are using this product index sort price descending. So if we check this in the browser, the sort by label is kind of out of area. So, well, if we remove this W full, it is not going to be stretched on a full width. And in this case, we have this sort by, and we're going to probably give it margin left of 4, and let's give it also items center. Now we have this nicely aligned sort by, and if we start sorting by price, we can see that we have the cheapest items at the top. We can switch into price descending. We have the most expensive items at the top. If we want to implement sorting by title, which right now doesn't work out of the box, we get the following error: could not find field named title in the schema for sorting. So I added this title right here, title ascending, but it doesn't work. If we go inside Scout PHP, go inside the title field declaration, we're going to provide sort equals sort corresponds to true, after which we have to flush all the data and re-import them, or we can delete the entire index and re-import them. Both of them is going to work. So we're going to execute PHP artisan scout delete index products index, which is our index name. After this, we're going to execute scout import, provide the product model name, which is going to perform the import, and then we're going to execute npm run dev. Now let's refresh in the browser and have a look. Now, if we choose title, we can see that the sorting by title happens. And let's go inside home.tsx, and I'm going to duplicate this and provide title descending. Oops. And let's provide desk here. I'm going to save that. And let's choose title descending. And we can see that the sorting by title also works, and it is super fast. Let's filter these by department like electronics and then sort them inside electronics. Let's narrow down and search for iPhones and then filter or sort by. So as we can see, because we have the dummy products, every product, almost every product like has this smart table, smart something, or classic something. So it starts either with classic or with smart, and the classic is at the top, smart is at the bottom when sorting by title. But this is the way how you can actually perform sorting with the Typesense, and that's pretty amazing. Now let me show you a few cool things I added into this project. So first, I'm going to use this current refinements component from React Instant Search package, which defines what are the current refinements set on from the left side, where we have this filters area. I think the design is a little bit messed up because we have card inside card. So basically we're going to move this above, probably like this. And if I choose electronics as an example, we're going to see department name is electronics. We're going to choose computers, smartphones. We're going to see what are the values for categories. And by clicking on this X, we can actually remove that specific filters. Of course, you can apply additional CSS to that, but the idea is pretty cool. Also, whenever we search something from here, such as monitor as an example, so that obviously filters it. And by the way, if you notice, we have much more products right now, and I'm going to talk about this right now. And if I refresh the page at the moment, the monitor is right here and pre-populated. And for this, we read the window location search, and we converted this into params using this URL search params, and that params is an object with key value pairs, and key is the index name and the query. So we get the query, and we take this query and put this inside this use state as a default value. But we need also to fallback this into an empty string because null is not what we want to give it. All right, and the last thing what I'm going to show is if we go inside this filter panel, we can make this searchable. So if we provide searchable true as an example, now we see search field right here. Of course, we can give additional CSS classes to this, but I think we should do this on categories. Let's do this on categories as well. So now we see, and if we start filtering like iPhones, we're going to see how cool it is. And it makes these iPhones actually highlighted. We can also give it a show more, which is going to be true. And right now we have this show more button, but because we don't have much categories at the moment, the show more button is actually disabled. You can provide additional CSS classes for show more as well, like we have given it right here. And you can also control how many items you want to show in this case. So what I want to show you right now is the fact that we have 1 million items, and we added also this number of milliseconds, which is inside home right here. The results basically provide the following variable: processing time ms, and this is the processing time in milliseconds. And if we do some sorting or searching, we can see that it took 1 second. Now let's do sorting inside this, or searching inside 1 million item. Hit the enter, we see 300 milliseconds. It's like instantly found the items. We can start sorting by price. We see again 300 milliseconds. Again, let's filter this by certain department. We see 500 milliseconds. We can filter this again 600. So it's pretty fast. So it's in most cases it is less than definitely less than a second, which is insanely fast if we are talking about 1 million products. So if you have to implement something like this in MySQL, I think you definitely will have a hard time implementing this. This is the first thing. Second is that your solution will not be as fast as this. So for me, Typesense becomes like a go-to solution when I want to do this full text search. Plus, it also considers your typing mistakes. Yeah, that's pretty cool. If you want to get started with the Typesense, check the video description. I will put a link right there. And thank you, Typesense, again for supporting this channel.